Welcome to this Xparticle tutorial. Today we will learn how to create amazing data visual animations using Xparticle and MoGraph in Cinema 4D. With some simple techniques you will be able to bring your data to life. So let's dive in and get started right away. Before we jump to Xparticle, we will start with do some data visual animations with MoGraph. We select a simple cube from here, then we hold the Alt and click on MoGraph, and we change the mode from grid to linear. We change the Z, we make the Z to 300, and the count we make it 10. Just have the cubes, they can be like the visual representation for data. So we wanted now they move up and down like the data information visually, and we need to use from here the effectors. For example, we can easily select the cloner and add formula, and in formula you can we don't need to scale, just focus on position. We make everything 0, and we want on direction of Y, because here you see the Y is our top movement, and we make it, for example, 300. And now if you play, you have simply just, they can be a data visualization animation and loop animated for us, and you can also add some trace to it. And if your cloner is selected, just come here and select tracer and created simple lines that they can be also connected, change from this position to trace path to connect all object. Let's go to select the cube and change the size to 100, 100, 100, and we can see better the line positioning and the movement. So this is one way, and you can also add another objects to your MoGraph. For example, you can easily add a radius sphere, make radius 50. You can create different type of objects here, even can be a text here. For example, you can add a text, the number can be randomly, you can choose 20 and drag it here. You can select the transform and change it to, for example, 90. It can be exactly the direction of your viewport or your camera. And this is one of the ways, and if you activate, you select the tracer and put it like the trace, and you have very flexibility to cloner numbers. For example, make it 20. Also, this can be another data visualization you can use, or you can totally change the formula and cut it and select, for example, a shader effector. If you go to the shader effector to parameter, you don't need to scale, we focus on position, because we want the, for example, the Y position move again 200. And if you go to the shading, you can add noise, and in the noise you can animate speed. And now play. Okay, looks like we don't have here the shader here. Just select the cloner and drag it here. Let's remove the formula, and now you see they're slowly moving. And now you go again to select the shader effectors and to parameters. You can the strength, you can make it 200, and now let's play it. Or you can make this 600. The Y, they are moving, and you have now more control. If you select shader and our noise, you have also control here to change the type of noise, and this also will change the type of movement on our animation. You see, you have different type of, if you change the noise, for example, to dent, you see created another movement, maybe will be more interesting. You can art direct it for your project. And another interesting thing is that you can in cloner select clones from randomly, and he will random put all of this information, or blend it, and he will blend between the objects. And you can, for example, blend between two texts. If this is you call this 1, the text, and put 1, and if you add the second text and call it 2, and now put here, change it to the 2, and you will see he blend the information from 1, 1.1, 1.3, 1.4, 7, 9 and 2. This can be also a good tip if you want just random numbers here to have on your graph. The last thing that you can also do is just change the mode from linear to radial also easily. And let's jump here and see how it looks like everything. Let's make a stop the shader and let's see how it look like. And if you just select the radius a little bit and make the number objects, for example, like the number of objects 30, and make it like a little bit 1000, and this, and activate again the shader and play it, and you see you will have another, quickly we will have another form of visual data for us from MoGraph. And to control better this visual data animation, we can add fill to it. Let's select the shader. In Effector, you can, in parameter, you can select the color mode and first make it off. We can see visually better. And then in Cloner, you can select the clones from blend to random. And we have more randomly distributed data or data and numbers. But now we want to have control on it for not all at the same time moving. For this, we will use in shader and fill. For example, you can use the box fill, and whenever the box field is, this text will be moving, for example, to the top and animate. Let's make it a little bit scale, and whenever is will be animated, and this is give you a lot of control for animating and creating and art directing your visual data animation. And if you deactivate the field, for example here, and will be all of this again moving. And the last thing you can do in tracer also, instead of tracing mode, tracing path, you can put connect all object. So this also will create another beautiful visual data animation that can you art direct between these two tracing mode and use it for your projects. Or you can easily again to the cloner and select the linear, and we can back to the old one. You can see here easily we can shift between radial mode and the linear mode. In Xparticle we can also create same visuals as we use in MoGraph, and now I'll show you how to create it. Let's jump to it. And in Insidium XP system, if you play here, will be a bunch of particles, but we need only like a MoGraph feeling from this, and this is the reason we go just select the XP emitter, and in object change the emitter shape. Instead of all of this, we just select a defined emission, so it will give us like a kind of MoGraph form of the particles. And as you see here, particles are moving, and in emission we select with just speed, we just put 0, we don't need any speed here. And also in object the count, we can change the number, for example 20. Almost we are set, we have everything. Just you can play with the spacing. For example here is 50, you can make it half, 25. If you don't want to see the blue cube around the particles, you can easily go to select XP emitter and display, and draw emitter you just deactivate. Still particles are very small, and for this we just again in display, instead of square we select sphere. And now let's play again, and much better. Now we need the movement for the particles as we created for in MoGraph. Instead of effectors for MoGraph, we can use, for example, here the modifiers, and one of the modifier can be displacer and one can be formula. Let's test it with formula. And if you drag it here on, just drag it on XP emitter. Now you see quickly we have created this animation. And in formula you can go object and also play with the direction, for example X direction or Z direction, and will create for you different form of animation. And also you can use, for example, we want to see the graph created between the particles. For this we go to generator and just XP trail and drag emitter here. So let's back again to formula and change it to Y. And this is one form of the visual for data animation, and you can also select the XP trail, and in algorithm instead of no connection you can select straight sequence, and will create for us another visual data information animation. And you can play with it. Let's see with the segment. We have another one that quickly can create it for us, and this is the reason the flexibility that we have using XParticle comparing to MoGraph. You have here more option to play with. And look, just few clicks you can create really randomly different data visualization. For example, you can create with the distance. You can here play with it, add the numbers, animate it and make it less and more. And this is still, we are only just very beginning. And now we're back to no connection or straight, and let's stop the play. And even if you can see here they're very straight, the lines, you can select the XP trail and SP line and change it to uniform or here to BSP line, and we'll make it for you curvy. Just can be another visual simulation for your data animation. And this is also, as you can see, so quick, so easy and so fast, and you can create very beautiful visuals. And if you back again to your XP trail and general, and you can again add, for example, no connection or segment. And here the XP trail is our tracer in MoGraph. This is that we always use it like our tracer, but you have more options and more algorithm that you can use others that I don't talk now about all of this. Let's keep it simple for now. For example, if it's a little bit too fast for you, you can make speed the number less, or here you can make it 1, and here you can make it 4. You can play with it and art direct it as you wish. And now instead of using formula, we want to test it with displacer. Just here click and select it and drag it on XP emitter, and if you play it, it's nothing happening because we should make few small changes. And in displacer we need a shading. Also we will use our favorite noise here, and in still nothing happens. You can put the high, for example 50, nothing still is happening because we must change direction. Here the direction from vertex normal, we change it to planar, and let's see what happened. Some changes happen with the position, and if you play with the high, you see they are all changing in one direction, but they are changing only in X direction. If you see here, X is red, Y is green, and Z is blue. And here our direction planar is on X, and now the old movement will be on X. And if you change it to -X, a Y, this is what we want. And all what we need here, just animate it. Just go animation and put 1. And we have easily created another visual data animation that you can use it for your projects. And in displacer we can also hide, you can put it, for example 100, you can play with it, 150, and you will have deeper high strength. You can make it 50% or 200%, You can art decorate it, you can play with it and choose the best that is working for you. And also in shading you have a lot of control, because here you can animation speed, you can make it, for example, 2, will be faster, make it faster here, 3, or more slowly 1. And also you can make it loop here. If you put 1, it will be always playing the loop for you. Maybe it will be also important to have a loop animation. And also you can play with contrast. The more contrast, the higher. And will be another movement of the motion. And you can see here you can play with the brightness and create very beautiful, simply different visuals and easily art directed. And we have the curviness here. We can back to XP Tray if you remember, and change the spline from B-spline to linear. And now will be exactly like data in Market, or you can visualize it, you can animate it. But what if we want to change, for example, spheres to numbers? So in Xparticle we can use generators, and here we have XP Sprite. If you click here, and here in XP Sprite is emitter, you just drag your emitter here and quickly change it to cubes, because the sprite type, the default is cube. And here you can select other objects, for example cross, and quickly he changed all of objects to cross, or other objects like sphere, like cylinder, capsule, pyramid. And let's see if we can choose what we want. The most important here is now the text. If we change to the text, he will create it for us a new text, but it's very small here. So we can go to the XP emitter, emission, and radius, make for example 10, and now play again. You see they are here alphabets, text that randomly generated for us, but also make more slowly the previews in Cinema 4D. I think because of the mesh will be heavier, the text have more segments. Always you can, if you want to have real-time feeling, you can in option level of details make it medium or low. Then you will have maybe help you to have faster preview. Let's back to the high and play again. So when you in Xsprite you have the, you select, you change the object to the text, and near object is text, and you click here, you have text mode. Instead of alphabet we change it to numbers, and now here is exactly what we were looking for. We have the numbers here, and the numbers you can make lower, even minus, for example -3, and for example 15, and he will randomly distribute the numbers. This is very amazing. That can also be very helpful. You can change it also to sequential or keep it random. It depends on your project. And as you can see here, easily we created some graph animations with just few clicks in Xparticle. Now instead of using modifier, displacer and formula that we talk about it, we want to remove it and use the generators for creating movement. If you play here, we don't have any animation here because we removed the displacer, but we want to replace it with the new ocean form of movement or wavy form. So for this we can go generators, and here we have XP Ocean, and just click here. Don't worry, we have nothing to do with this ocean, just want to play. You see we want this wavy movement for our graph. So we just select the type of XP Ocean from primitive to deformer. Then we drag it here on as a child of XP emitter. And let's make the sprite, for example, object to from text to the cube, because we want the preview be faster. And let's play again. And you see it created for us quickly some wavy animation form. Let's make the object emission the size of radius 5, then we can see better. And now we, as you can see here, we have the movement in the Z and X and Y. We want only having one direction, just Y. For this we just go easily select again XP Ocean, the type of noise, and we change it, for example, to another one, and we change it to, for example, Ober, and create it for us another movement of the wavy look that we are looking for. And let's, for example, to SEMA. You see, we can easily create and play with it and art direct it. And now let's change it, because look a little bit fast here, and because speed is 100, you can change it to 50. Still is too much, make it 25 or make it 10. Now this is great. So you can play with the type of noise, and now you have a lot of possibilities to art direct your motion graphic. For example, sometimes you need different movement quickly to show your clients, and for this you can easily select the noise type and play with it quickly and make previews without spending a lot of time, and create for your clients and send them different type of movement. For example, let's try a Nike and see how it look like. Looks like nothing happens. Wavy. Okay, let's make this 50. If you make wavy turbulence, created another. Let's scale it down, because it look like all of it at the same time moving. Scale down 50. Now better. Let's make it 5. If you look at these options like noise that we use for displacer, this is like our contrast and brightness. The more you make it, the less you play with it, and will make affect your movement. And you see here now we have speed 50. You can make it 100 or 10 first, now slowly 100, more fast. So you can easily art direct it how you want to see the movement. Scale it, for example, 3 will be another mechanical movement, and you can play with other noises, and you can see here they give you totally different type of movement here, and you can play with it. Here dense is like wavy, maybe this is what we are looking for a project, and you can scale it up and scale it down. Speed, and you can see, for example, 100 will be faster here, but if you want to be higher and still movement go higher, you can here change the wave height to 100, and you see they are going higher and getting crazy, and with only few clicks you can really create it. And now if we back to XP Trails, we can to general again change it to algorithm, for example, to no connection. Create it quickly and beautifully, another data visualization. So we can now again back to our sprite, and instead of cube we can change it to sphere. So how quickly we can play and change the data and prepare for your clients. For example, they can have quickly a visualization how look like your animation with the, for example, a disk with a sphere, and with the text, with the numbers, for example, and you have a lot of options to art direct it, and this is which is very great, and you can save time to present to client. And especially you can see here you can play with the XP Sprite, you can play with the XP Trail, you can play with the XP Ocean. With these three you can create different random motion graphics previews that you can present it. For example, XP Trails we can go from no connection to straight, and spline you can change it to B spline. How quickly with just few clicks, and we back again to linear. General we can back, for example, segment, created another visuals, and you can add to it, you can art direct it, you can all of this animate and create, for example, multi-sequence. You can play with all of these options that you have here, and here you can more control. For example, these are a lot that you can play with your projects and create different visuals for your data visualizations, and can be for everyone, has a different meanings. Just feel free to play with all of these options and play with the sprite, for example, and change it to text, and let's see if it's very small text. You come back here to emitter, make it again to radius 10, and let's play again, and let's go a little bit closer, and you see here we have our numbers. Even we can put curviness to our trail here. If your client asks he wanted to see this curvy, you can easily add to it. Let's say we select XP Trail and change the algorithm to no connection. Then we can see it all straight away, they are moving. And if client asks, for example, he wants to see this, they are all curvy, you can easily choose here in Xparticle in Cedium, and in utility we can choose XP Trail Deformer. Just select it and drag it as a child of our XP Trail, and quickly will turn all of the lines to a curved lines. And let's play it. To see better in preview, I will change the sprite from text to cube, then will be our viewport faster, and also XP emitter radius, make it 5, and now you see all of the lines. If I deactivate it, straight lines or trails turn to a curvy one, so with just only one simple deformer. And here you have two options in formula, wavelengths. For example, you can make it 50, and will create more wavy form and shape for our trails. Now we have a simple graph, and if client asks you if you can make it circular, we can easily change the shape and just go to the emitter and just object, and the mode, instead of inline we change it to circular, and now we have a circular form. And the count, you can make it, for example, 50, and we have beautifully another visual form of data here. And you can again go to select XP Trail and change it to straight sequence. Now they are beautifully connected. And as we did before, we changed the type of the spline to B-spline. I will make it for us another visual which is curvy form. And you can play with all of these options and create beautiful visual data visualization for your clients and for your future projects. Just few clicks and save a lot of time for you. And the mode, and also you can play with the emitter mode, and also XP Sprite, for example, change it to disk and see how it look like everything, or other objects or a sphere. And also you can play with the XP Trail to the general algorithm to play with it, for example, no connection to straight, and also to sequence. And see, you have easily with different clicks and different options, you will get different visuals that will help you a lot for your future projects. For example, nearest by index will create another visual. You can add to it, you can make it less, and you can easily art direct your visual projects, your data. You have a lot of control, and you can play with it and see what works for you the best. Let's back to spline and change it to line, and also we can back again to emitter, and so we have inline, which is just a line, and circular, just to create a circle for us. And now we can choose 3D grid. Now I will show you how to use a sphere with a simple rotation and create such a beautiful data visual animation. We select a simple sphere with NB. We can see the segments. We can put it, for example, 25, not a lot of segments, and we will select Xparticle system, and we will create it and just drag is here to be organized in utility. Coordination, we just rotate the coordination. We put only keyframe here and just go to the end, and we put here, for example, 180, and just click And now we have a simple rotation. But particles have nothing to do with our object. For this we just select XP emitter object, and emitter shape we change to object and drag our sphere here. Now they are emitting from our object. So we don't want this, we just want all particles stick to the source. So now we hide with Alt and double click. We see that all of particles are attached to the object and they are also rotating. And now in emission we just from rate we change it to shot, and the shot count we make it for 50. We do not need to have a lot of particles, just a few of particles. And now we just select the display and change the square to, for example, sphere, and we can have better visual in preview. So the last thing we need to do is just add XP trail, and here in generators we have XP trail emitter. We drag our emitter here and created for us very beautiful trails. And this also can be used as a visual, like a data visualization if you want to show it for animation. And the last thing we can do, just play with the algorithm. Here you have straight sequence or segment, or you can choose multi-sequence. But what we need for our visual is choose nearest by distance. Just directly we click on it, and he created for us a different form of connection between the sphere. Here can be representative of data simulations, and here in distance mode we just select all with distance, and we have now just different shape, another form. And the last thing we need to do here, just for example we put 100, we just put 0 at the maximum distance at this frame 0, and just go to the frame 50 and 100 or 50. Let's make it 60 and just click, and now play again. You see it created like visual, and they are building and creating itself. Now we can select generators and sprite and drag our emitter here and change the objects from sphere easily to a cube or to text. But as you can see, when I select text, the viewport is very slow. Just you can select to XP sprite and text and change it to, instead of the mode non-alphabet, we change it to numbers. Now if I just go closer, let's play again. Yeah, it's very slow, but if you can see it, like just go quicker, and it create for us for every surface beautifully numbers, and with the lines they are attached. I'll back again to sprite to cube. It will be preview faster, and you can play with it and create your own visuals. Now we will use emitter and XP trail to create a new form of data visualization. In Insidium XP particle, we just XP system, and we select the emitter, and emitter shape we change it to a circle. And if you play now, they are emitting from the center, but we want it like a data visualization, and we want all from the edge be emitted. For this easily we select ring only, and if you click on it will be ring only. But again, we don't want this be straight, just be around it, and for this just we need cone angle and change it to 90. And now if you see, they are emitting outside. And speed, we don't need any speed for now. From here we put 0, and also change it to the shot. We don't want to rate it, and maybe the shot count we make it like 500 for now. Now we need to add some speed to it, but without speeding at the here default that we have, because we want to have more control on it, on the speed itself. So we just from the motion modifiers here we select XP speed and quickly affect the particle's speed. So in operation we just select absolute because we want the absolute speed value, and instead of 150 we make it like 50, but we don't have any trails here, just generators. We go add XP trail and now XP emitter, and this now created for us this, but they're all at the same time. We want a kind of variation. We select again XP speed, and here variation we just give also 50. We add fills and like this, just spherical fill, and all of the movement will be stay here. And now one more thing we can do, just make it still more slowly, and but we don't touch the speed itself. We just add another motion controller, and here we will add XP drag, because we want like a kind of density we give to the atmosphere. For example, these particles are moving in seawater and they're more slowly, and you can strength make it, for example, 500. They're more slowly, more smooth, and it's like simulating data, information, or growing. And I think 500 is okay and looks everything smooth and beautiful. And another thing we can do is XP trail. We can also change it from to another, for example, to nearest by distance, and will create for us another beautiful data simulation animation for visualizing for your project. And this is also a simple technique that you can use to create beautiful different data visualization. Now we can mix two emitters and create new visuals easily. For this we just select our XP emitter, call it 01, and in emission shot count we make only 50, and let's play. Now we have just 50 number of the data here or particles, and we make a copy, hold Alt and drag, and we call this number 2. We just change the number 2 color in display. We just change here to the red, and also here the particle color, that we can see the difference. And now we also need to rename the XP trail. Here is number 1, and we drag Alt and drag, and here is number 2. Just what we need to do in emitter, we drag the number 2 here. And when we play, nothing happening still big because they have everything is same. We just need the second emitter in emission, the number shot count, make it 30, and we will have less number of red counts. And also now we select different type of algorithm for trailers. So for the number 2 we will select nearest by distance, and if we click here, still nothing very big, but if you add the numbers here, you can see a little bit some changes happen. So for example, we can start from 10 at frame 0 and trailer, and we create a keyframe for maximum distance, for example 8, and we go frame 50, and we add to for example like 70, and click here. We have now a keyframe, and we slowly created for the second one, and the first one we can keep it like no connections. Also can be another visual simulations, or you can play with it and, for example, straight sequence. Now I will show you a very simple technique to create this data visualization. We will select a simple plane here, and with NB we can see the number of segments, and we change it to 20 and 20, and again we just export together. We create a new XP system, and if you play, it's created for us automatically emitter, but we want to turn this to an emitter. So we will select here our emitter and just an object and select as an object. Let's drag it here to be organized, and then we have XP emitter object. We drag our plane here. Now every surface or every polygon created one moving particle. And now in emission we don't need, for now, speed, we put 0. Also we don't need to see the plane, we hold the Alt and click, and you see here created the surface of particles for us. This can be also used as a simple data visualization, but we need to give speed to particles to move to the top. So we'll select modifier, and in motion modifier we select speed, XP speed here. As soon as we select XP speed, particles start moving. And here object, we go operational and change it to absolute. We need one more thing to do, is to add to particles XP trail. But before we do this, we go and select to emission, and the number of particles we make it, for example, 500, because 1000 can be a lot. 500. Then we need to, in generators, add XP trail, drag the XP emitter here, and create it for every particle one trail. A little bit is too fast. We can speed value, bring it, for example, 50, and now showing more smoothly they are growing the informations. What we need here, put more randomness on our particles and also on our movement, because now they are moving very smooth. But we want to have a different movement, like step, they go, stop, and go and stop. We just want to see how we can art direct the simple movement that here we have. For this we will select random colors first for the particle. We just select XP emitter, and on display we just color mode, we just select it to, for example, gradient random. And if you play, let's hide the XP trail and just see the random colors we have on particles. And now activate XP trail again. And on speed now also we have more control now. For example, we want first 10 frame or 15 frame, we just see particles, then they stop. Because if you play now, you see they are quickly move to the top, but we want they have some pause here, some stop here. For this, easily we just select mapping. And here if you XP speed mapping and just add here. And here we have parameter. We can select a speed value, because here the speed value we have the number. If it's, for example, 0, the speed value, it means we don't have any movement. And if it's 50, it means we'll start moving. And here the curve that you see here shows, for example, the here is 0, it means we don't have a speed, we have 0, we don't have any speed here, and slowly growing. And this is exactly what we wanted. We want just particles created, then slowly they start move. Let's make this, for example, 200 frames, and we can see how it look like. For example, you can even move this a little bit here, and you see we'll have longer pause then start it. We back to the original, the default version. I am happy with this. But another thing that is very interesting, and you can quickly control it and art direct, is the moving of the motion of the particles. Now is like very simple, they are going to the top, but we can give some variation to it, and this makes it very simple, quick, and very beautiful. We can art direct it. For this, we again on XP speed select the field, and in field we will select here the random field. And if you play again, you have some randomness. They are not all at the same time growing, and for this we have noise type noise, and here we can art direct the movement. For example, you can choose cell and play with it and see how it looks like. It's totally different. For example, Luca. And finally, we will select the noise type dent, and if you play, you see they are like stopping and they are moving, stopping, they are moving, and this makes it very beautiful. If I make the speed a little bit, for example 80, maybe we can see this better. You see, they are stopping, they're moving, stopping, moving, and this beautiful growing motion for the particles we created with only noise type, with just few clicks and changing the noise type. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more tutorials.